Hi guys, this is the training video on how the logbooks work on the new system. So I'm just going to cover the admin area first. It's a bit more complex, and then we'll look at how it works on the front end. So logbooks are obviously on the front end linked to your members area. So we go to the administration area first. We've got a new tab down the left hand side called logbooks. So if you go into the first tab, which is all logbooks, you can actually see, and these are obviously just tests at the moment, but you can see existing logbooks that are on the system, and you can add a new one. So for the purpose of this, we'll just add a new logbook to the system. So we'll call it Alex's logbook. Okay, so we can put some text in here. Text. Now, one of the features that we've got as well is when people subscribe to the logbooks, if you do make any updates to a logbook, once one's already live, if you tick this button, and when you save it, it will email all of the members to say that there's been an update to the logbook. You put in a start date and an end date, when the questions start. We've obviously got this approval text here. So, for example, I'm going to put in here, once someone started the logbook, they've got 5 days. We're going to take the logbook off sale, take it off at the end of the year. So again, if you're not sure what any of these are, you can just hover over and it specifies what it actually means. And then we've got logbooks can either be free, so if they're free, you just leave the price empty, or you can set a price for each one. So let's just call this £100. So once users have been approved, this is the content that they show them. So content to show for approved users. So that's generally what it is they're going to be reading in terms of the actual logbook itself. And then you've got the questions you can answer, set up for the logbook. So we can just give it, set of questions, whatever it is, so a title for the set of questions. Short description if you want to give it one. I'll just give it some text at the moment. Let's do that. There we go. And then you add your questions in. So question 1, answer 1. Question 2. Obviously you can write a lot more in here. I'm just doing it for an example. Question 3, on and so forth. So you generate your questions that they need to answer for the logbook. Question 4, question 3. Okay. So once you've done all of that, all you then need to do is publish it. So that's your logbook created on the back end. So that means people can then apply for the logbook. So that's adding a new one. If we go back to logbooks, we can see some that are already in the system. So there's the one that I've just created. Here's another one that's a free logbook. And here's some other test data that we've got. So if we look at this free one, we'll see it's very similar in terms of the setup that I've just done, although this one spans over a year. Again, text, and then the questions for this particular logbook. So that's setting up the logbooks is fairly easy. Obviously, as part of this process, we could maybe copy over some of the historical ones as well. Then we've got applications. So this bit's a bit more tricky. So basically on the front end, we'll have a look, but users can apply to take the logbook, and then users need to be assigned a mentor and a marker once they've been approved to take the logbook. So I'll show you that on the front end in a minute, so we can see someone applying, and then I'll show you how it works as well in terms of making people a mentor or a marker. The other nice feature about the logbooks here is we've got filters, so you can run queries basically and reports. So you can see dates, who's applied between certain dates, payment dates between a certain time, the markers. There's loads of different ways in which you can filter your logbooks. So you can filter scores, and you can submit that, and that will just update the items here. So that's nice and easy to use. And if you need any other filters, obviously just let us know if there's anything missing from that. The settings is quite self-explanatory, but there's basically, when people do different actions on the system, there's different notifications that go out. So you've got the admin notifications and you've got the user notifications. Now you can click on those and you can edit the content that's actually sent. So if you go into it here, you can see the first name, last name. There's a new version of the logbook that you have, logbook, and then it's the logbook title that you have an application of. Please click here to view it. These are all the macros if you do want to add any additional macros in that you can do, and you can obviously edit the text, but please note if you remove the macros then it will stop the personalization. So those can be set up. They've all got a HTML wrapper, so they all pick up the standard HTML wrapper. So going back to the logbooks admin area, we can also turn on a sandbox, so for testing purposes, so it doesn't actually send out any emails. It's linked up with PayPal, so people can pay using PayPal, and there's offline payment instructions as well. So there are all the rest of the details here. You guys, apart from editing the templates, you shouldn't really need to play around with that too much. So the other thing to show you, if we go into users, if you find a user to make, you need to either make someone a mentor or you need to make them a marker. So if I take Sam's record at the moment, actually let's take Naomi's, because she's, there we go, subscriber. So if I go into Naomi's record in the admin area, you've got their default role at the top. So here when we go and we've got role, it says subscribers. So you don't edit that bit, but if you scroll down, it's quite far down the screen, you'll get to a section just under this box here where it says additional capabilities. This is where you can make people a marker or a mentor. So if you just check those and you press the update user button, that gives them the facility to either be a marker or mentor or both. Okay, so the next part of the system, if we switch over to, and I'll use Karen's record as an example, just for the training video. So if we switch over, I'm already in this Karen, so if we go over to the front end, we can now have a look at the logbooks on the front end. So you have to go to your members dashboard, and when you go to your members dashboard, the logbook section is now active. So what I can do here is I can see all the logbooks that are available. So each one is kind of represented by this tile. So I can see the ones that are available, the ones that I've been approved to do, and ones that I can apply for. So this is Alex's logbook that I've just created. I can also search through the logbooks here as well. So I can do a search if I just want to find a particular logbook using free text. I can also, let's just undo that search. I can also see all that, I can sort the logbooks. So I can see the ones that are available, the ones that are awaiting payment, the ones that are paid, awaiting approval, so on and so forth. And I can order them in different orders, so by date created, title, and price. So if I look at the free logbook, which this user has already applied to do, I can just click view now. Obviously there's no, I've just put some dummy text in, so there isn't really anything for the user to read currently. It just shows the price and it shows when it's going to finish for me. Obviously when there's real logbooks in there with real content, this page will be a lot longer. Once the user or member has read through those, through that logbook, they can then obviously start the questions. And when you go into the start questions time, it tells you how long you've got left to do. You can submit it for marking when you're happy, and then you put the responses to your questions in here. And then press save. So that's all of that bit. If we go back to the logbooks themselves, I'll just show you how the application process works for a new one. So we've got a free logbook here. So if I view that, oh no, it's £100, beg your pardon. So if I view that, there's some example text. Obviously I didn't put much in, but let's say I want to take that logbook, I can press apply. There's some additional notes that you can put in, but this is the apply box. And then because it's £100, it says how would you like to pay for it, PayPal or offline. If they pick PayPal, they go through and pay on PayPal, or they pick offline, which will tell the administrator that they've paid offline, so you know that you're waiting for them to either do a bank transfer or maybe phone up and pay over the phone, however they've chosen to do it. Okay, so once you've ticked that, it will just say you'll be notified when your application has been approved. So that in itself will generate an email going out. As soon as you've done that, you'll get an email to say that you've applied for it. So I can show you what that looks like now. Just go over to my emails quickly because I've got this turned on. So it says, Dear Admin, this is the email that admin's going to get. The user Karen has applied for logbook, Alex's logbook. Please, you can click there to approve it and go straight through to it. If I switch back now, go back to the back end, what we'll see, if we go back to logbooks here and go to logbook applications, I will be able to see here, so we've got a new approval for Karen to Alex's logbook. So I can approve that once I'm happy I've got the payment. Obviously it says here, this is quite important, the payment info, so payment methods offline. So if it is offline, you need to check, or you need to make sure you're happy you've got the payment before you approve. So if I now approve that, then what it asks, it wants me to select a mentor. So select a mentor, who's going to be the mentor for this. So I'm going to select Naomi in this case, click confirm, and successfully approve the logbook application. So now what we should see when this reloads, now we've got a date in there so we can see when that was approved. This will also generate another email, which I think has probably just come through. Yeah, so I now say, dear Karen, your application for logbook has been approved. This is your mentor's name. Please click here to start answering logbook questions. And I think I've also got another email to Naomi, has got an email, I beg your pardon, to say you've been assigned as a mentor to the logbook application with the user Karen Thompson. So there we go. So that's, I think, really about it. Let me just make sure I've not missed anything. No, I think that's about it really. So the next stage of this, I'll just hand over to you guys to make sure you can confirm and check everything is as you expect. Watch the video, please give us any feedback, and as soon as you're happy we can update the live system, and then you can start sending out the logbooks to your members. Thanks very much.